Um, this is the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association. We were founded in 1978 to bring together poets and readers interested in speculative poetry. Now, what is speculative poetry, you might ask? Everybody has their own definition. It is a poetry with some element of speculation, such as science fiction, fantasy, or horror, though some include straight science too. SFPA is home to poetry magazines such as Starline and Eye to the Telescope, which are included in the annual membership. We host the annual Elgin Award for Best Poetry Collection or Chapbook of the Year, and the Riesling and Dwarf Stars Awards for Best Single Poem. Riesling is for longer poems, and the Dwarf Stars are for poems 10 lines and under. If you are a lover of the poetic form and of science fiction or fantasy, the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association may be for you. Come and join us at sfpoetry.com. Today, we have a group of our members to come and read their poems. And I'd like to just have them introduce each other one at a time. I guess I'm just going to have to say your names, and hopefully I won't mangle them too much. Forgive me if I do. And then once I say your name, go ahead and just give a brief bio of yourself as a poet. David, would you like to go first?
I'm a geologist by trade, but I've been writing science fiction since high school, and I've been writing speculative poetry since the early 80s. I edit and publish a magazine called Dreams and Nightmares.
Thank you. I'm sorry. How do I pronounce your name? Akua?
Akua.
Akua. That's lovely. If you could
Thank
go to...
you. I'm Akua Leslie Hope, and I'm coming to you from the Southern Finger Lakes of New York. I'm a poet and writer. I wrote my first science fiction poem in the 6th grade and had my first science fiction poems, SF speculative poems, published in the 80s. And I've got a new book out called Them Gone, which is not spec fic, but I hope you'll check it out too.
Oh, thanks. Michael, would you like to go next?
Hi, yeah, thank you, Wendy. Hi, my name is Michael Hanairo, and I am a former journalist, and I've been writing poetry for a long time. My first published poem was in Eye to the Telescope, which Wendy mentioned, maybe 7 years ago. And I've been writing and publishing poetry regularly since then. Thanks.
Great. Jean, if you'd like to go next. Oh, we don't hear you, Jean. You're still, your microphone's off.
Hi, I'm F.J. Bergman. I'm a poet primarily, but also write science fiction. I work as an editor and book designer for a poetry press and several horror presses. And I've been involved with SFPA for over a decade.
Great. And I think that's everybody. All right. Anyway, we're basically going to be doing a reading of the poetry from our members. And just at random, I'm going to pick somebody. Since we have a listing up on top, I think we're going to go back to David, if that's okay. And David, if you could go ahead and pull out your poetry and go ahead and give us your full reading at this time.
Okay. The first poem I'm going to read is called The Universe According to Arf. Dog created matter and energy, igneous rock which maketh all new, and sedimentary rock, yea, and that which has metamorphosed. Dog put into motion the geochemical cycles and created diverse microscopic organic spheres. Dog allowed environmental parameters to wax and to wane, and lo, there was selection, naturally, and much time passed, and things were primordial, and it was good. And yet more time rolled by, like unto a mighty river, like unto the mighty Mississippi, which did not yet exist. And Dog made a mental note and saw that it was good. And dogs saw further that there were plants and invertebrates aplenty, a veritable smorgasbord of them. But no vertebrates, not even Amphioxus, their flaccid cousin. And so the world was sadly lacking in the bone department. Woof, dogs said, and there were bones, and it was good. My next poem is called Suicides Leave Notes. AI says this planet once had life, geomorphic features too regular by far, roads, terraces, foundations. They built and mined and then they left, a colony world perhaps. But molecules peculiar to manufacture are everywhere in strata as old as 500,000 years, as young as in surficial sand and mud. We just missed them. We just missed them, and yet no living thing is here. Microorganisms, hardy plants, things like viruses, no, none, zilch, and hardly any water. No message for us either. No litany of regrets, no warning, words of wisdom, nothing but the nothing of no one here. Whatever laid its hand upon this world is gone, we hope. But just in case, we can't go home or even warn them except by placing in orbit a beacon. Stay away. My next poem is called Better Luck Next Time. I had to kill my evil twin. You see, in this universe, my wife was still alive. The other me had to go. His wife, mine, deserved one who'd appreciate those little differences. Her pleasant demeanor, eagerness to please, a welcome change. But she still leaves off the toothpaste cap. The dishes languish in the pan. Certain things she will not do. So I'm thinking there's another she a world away and needing rescue from a lesser me, another evil twin. This one is called Emily in the Woods. I try to be home by dark. I dislike meeting the dead girl standing in the wood. So many girls wander under the distant sky. The old guy just kept talking. I could not get loose. Something about the war. When I finally set out, the sun was a bloody memory. It's a short walk for a long-legged man, 2 miles as the crow flies, 2.5 on the winding forest track. The sparrows abed, no rustling in the litter. This close to town, there are more ghosts than coyotes, more murders than owl strikes, and one pretty young girl too stubborn to move on. I'm always thinking, almost home, and there is Emily, so close I could feel her breath, if she had any. I scream like a little girl who just saw a ghost. She waits for me to laugh. The hem of her dress is ragged. A brown stain blooms over her belly. We talk about my day and hers, not her last, thank God, about school, boys, her crazy teacher. I don't tell her he was the one. Her mother drives her crazy. I tell her, cut her some slack. I don't say she's lost her daughter, because for Emily, she hasn't yet. My house is just around the bend. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. I hope so, I'll say. That's what I got. I don't know how long that took.
That's okay. Thank you very much. Our next reader will be, again, I apologize, Akuna. Oh, your
You're still
microphone's
muted.
not on yet. We need to get your microphone on.
Akua.
Yeah.
Akua.
Thank you. You're
Akua Leslie Hope. And I just want to take the moment to thank NASFiC for having us here today. It's a delight to connect across the miles and around the planet. Gondoliers ply craft, mist ships floating fore and aft, lullabies drifting. Gondoliers strum strings, terraformed waterways sing, lifting mist ships' wings. Gondoliers train hard, learn songs of alien bards, making water sing. Encompass. Sunshine is frequently crooked and windows have certainties. Fireflies make cold light on warm evenings. I let go of designations that end futures. The next epoch will be kinder. I am a spaceship dreaming of landing on Mars, conveying the hopeful. I was a woman without heels who could only roll swiftly downhill. Inclines require assistance, power, or knowledge. Curb cuts are too steep. Strength is best bent. Sentience is not a gift when you are stuffed in a box, braying and crying for a red release or green expanse. I track dust and mud prints on shiny floors and yearn for a wise trajectory. Travesties are too soon forgotten. Clouds obscure as does fog, but weather is local until it's not. Finitude can comfort or constrain. This too shall pass. Scarcity is a falsehood of imprisonments. Skid marks are signs of consumption. Shred, repurposed, dispossessed. This is how I'm made useful. Encompass. Cleaning crew. Shivering in July, hydrangea battered by hail, tendrils floating in the sky, alien jelly drags a whale, burning waters, lethal mix, something broken left unfixed, pollutants agglomerated, asphyxiate, drew a galactic cleaning crew with all our poisons to undo. None denied them a snack or two. Cleaning crew. Dogon. Even before the spit assessment, I knew ancestry said there was Molly in me. My Nomo stool had frightened a visiting preacher. Circle of many next to the ancestral couple, stoic, seated together, holding a point open for connection atop the cedar cupboard containing old percussive toys, glass xylophones, goat skin rattles, iron bells, reed flutes, kalimba, instruments of soft summonings that had calloused my thumbs, exacting a toll for expertise, or set an echoing stir within, urging me to play on. As the point held by the carvings widened into a star-pierced darkness, a remembered scent of warmed earth and sighing grasses, purpled and gilded below figured escarpment, rose. Sounds came from me, some unknown remembrance calling, singing into space, humming, homing, clicking, and chirping, snips of something like song. As again an imagined window widened, became a dilating door that I stepped through. Thank you for listening.
Wow, that was very powerful. Thank you very much. Okay, next, Michael, would you like to go next?
Great, thank you, Wendy. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm really happy to be here. I'm going to read two poems for you. My father was an immigrant from the Philippines, and my mother's Irish American. And these poems are about the Filipino side of my family. The first one is called Amulet. The thing around your neck on a narrow leather strap, made of a light metal and embossed with a design, worn smooth and tarnished, reveals hints of itself when turned in the light, a triangle or pyramid, or an arrangement of characters in an alphabet whose meanings are lost to you by distance and time. Given to you upon your father's return from a homeland, funeral of his Lola, a woman you knew from photos as tiny and slight, her weathered face afloat in fabric, butterfly sleeves rising like waves to either side, bright eyes shimmering with pride as if she possessed secret knowledge about you and the people around you, including her daughter, whom you call grandmother instead of Lola, so you don't have to explain yourself, and who, with broken hip, couldn't fly off to bury her mother, yet gasped in surprise at the bequeathed amulet, slumping in her reading chair as if in surrender, and lifting her chin in releasing laughter and sighs. Your Lola Angela loved her superstitions and saw magic in the tiniest of entities, a raindrop, a grain of rice, and that ancient thing, an anting for warriors for victory and battle. But magic didn't feed, shelter, or clothe us, only studying and hard work. That's magic. Yet your Lola's reaction makes you wonder, isn't it magic that has worked her up so much she's revealed a new truth about Lola Angela and her beliefs in the magic of things, which only deepens your sense of knowledge and mystery of the woman who share equal claims on your history as you finger the thing so light and slight around your neck. My second poem is called An Offering, and it's in two parts, and there's a huge time jump in between the two parts. Part one. The dark husks of a halved coconut held steaming slices of roast pork, purple rice cakes, green bata beans, and a bouquet of white blossoms from fresh-cut sampaguita, all carried in the outstretched hands of a boy leading men and bancas to the sea. He waded into waist-high water and pushed the Dewata's offering away and watched it wobble on the surface until it disappeared into the deep, a payment for the ancient sea spirit to guide and protect the fishermen as they paddled into their day's work. The boy, as his ancestors before him, stayed in the surf and hoped to glimpse the one who took the foods that left his mouth watering and who brought the men home with a bounty of fish, his small body tight in anticipation that she would rise, a dazzling light, like Christ, the white lady of the sea. 2. Fevered, he paddles out to sea, weakened by malarial shakes, the high sun tropical heat. He doesn't rest until his shoreline home is lost from view. He stifles a cough. Japanese voices carry, shouting at his wife and child to stay outside as soldiers search for anything, though he would be the prize, and the papers stash in a valise at his feet. More voices, wife, child. His fevered body shudders and thinks of dark coconut husks, sliced pork, rice cakes, bata beans, and wishes to teach his boy about offerings to the sea spirit. But what need has he, a city child, trembling for a Dewata at a time of war? His ill chest heaves with such violence, he cannot contain his coughs. Racking across the waves, he fears all will be lost. Save for a sudden presence, breaking the sea's solemn surface, crowned with white blossoms and rivulets of flowing hair, cascades of noisy splashes, like frenzied bangus taking to air, mask his hacks, and when his heaving chest relaxed, he mouths his thanks. But the white lady of the sea is gone, leaving a bright sun, still blue sky, and ebbing Japanese voices as the patrol moves on from his home, wife, child, and sea. Thank you.
Wow, excellent, excellent reading. Next is F.G. Bergman. If you'd like to come up and get started.
Sure. My first poem first appeared in Asimov's, and its first line is from Damarung by Simon Armitage. Avocation. In later life, I retired from poetry to take up the study of magic. After all, there are only so many ways to use words, and I didn't care for the modern vocabulary. Summoning spirits was easy. Hadn't the muses, a few of them at least, been at my beck and call? But other spells were harder to master, especially those requiring esoteric ingredients. Nothing in my previous career had prepared me for reliably identifying genuine murderers' hands or fat from unbaptized infants. And I'd never had to write in runes before. Sorcery doesn't take kindly to rough drafts or revisions. More than once, I fled my dank cellar, choking on sulfurous fumes, covered in violet flames. Don't even talk to me about succubi. I grew more and more confused, the flames I expect. And then it was nothing more than the same old enchantment in the end. This one first appeared in Spectral Realms. Gas giant. The shuttle's wake slices through a buzzing swarm of something nasty that splats the hull in a way that does not tempt us to be inquisitive. Hierarchically, they aren't what we have to worry about. The dominant life forms are lower in the atmosphere. Our pilot finesses our descent, palm on control pad, sinking past pale, amorphous clouds of methane ice. Turbines whine against resistance as the gales grow denser. Thicker strata hide hirsute, scorpion-like monsters, but they are at a disadvantage when matched with those swimming further down. We keep on falling, canary looking for a black cat hiding in a coal mine. Our AI validates the signal we home in on, emissaries to whatever apex predator dwells at the base of an upside down evolutionary pinnacle, poised in the heavy hells below. We don't know what we'll find, don't know what we'll say. All we know is that it believes it is dreaming us. Say, John, could you mute your mic?
Looks like he did.
Okay, great.
Sorry about that, Jean.
I have one more. This one was first published in Apex. Jubilee. We robots mingle amiably, raising our oxidized alloy flags, toting portable solar chargers, creaking and rumbling. Welcome, says the cracked LED panel. above the trampled grassland. Not one glare, no bad words. If you had been there, shocked to be the only wetware, aching for another human, you'd fumble through the ritual of accepting our obeisance and good wishes. But you are gone. No matter how thick the leaden cocoon, eventually your skins got got patchy, orange, and you were done, ready or not. The first of us were homegrown, a legacy that must have eased our creators' passage as they melted back into the ground. Recordings of muffled screams, the last of you huddled in automated hospices, waiting to end. Disposal routines, second cousins twice removed, slid your liquefying bodies out onto the earth. Normally, we remain in a controllable environment, but once a year we come outside into the vagaries of weather to make sure you are extinct. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. That was wonderful. John has just arrived. I'm afraid we haven't had a chance to introduce him. John, can you hear me? John Johnson? Hello, go ahead and unmic yourself. If you can, that would be great. Just unmic. Hello. Okay, since John is having a little bit of trouble, I guess I should go next. Hold on a sec here. Apologize for all this.
Oh, you guys can hear me?
Yes, are you there? Great.
I cannot hear you. I can read some poems if you want.
Please do. Please
Wave
go
if you want me
ahead
to do that.
Could you also introduce yourself?
Okay, thanks. I know this JavaScript, man. I mean, the Discord chewed up my audio output for some reason or another. Well, I've got 3 here. I'm really sorry that I can't hear y'all. I would really love you guys are all people I want to talk to too. Like, I've never had a conversation with Jeannie, and we've had about 8 million emails over the last decade or so. But and David, I've always wanted to hear David's voice, but never. And Wendy, I'd like to meet you all and talk to you all, but not today. Huh. Here's one called Chimpanzees and Humanzees, and this was in Asimov's a couple years ago. Let's see if I can find it here. I think it's coming up right up here. Let's see. Perhaps not. Perhaps I need a little interlude music here while I'm. Where'd it go? I don't understand where it went to. It should be right there. All kinds of strange technical problems today. I could sing while I'm waiting. I'll sing. What was the name of that band that did "Riding the Storm Out"? I'll sing that for you guys. Huh. Well, I'll read "The Stars, My Destination," which is you guys probably know that Bester novel with that title. And anyway, this is based on and this is based on this is kind of a mashup between Bester and Zizek. And it scared me when I wrote it. It was like I've gone too far, you know. The stars, my destination. I scuttle in the dark down barely lit galleys, a sliver of life amongst hulks of the discarded craft. Salvage, they call it, but no one comes for it. We are alone, floating in space, the wreckage of old spaceships and myself. The creak of old hulls is the void trying to break in, the relentless crush of nothing. We resemble the end of all things. The apocalypse does not recycle. The end of light, its dull terminus, the passing of the stelliferous era. It does not kindle new light, yet there is no end to endings. For now we are the only place free from any nature, even our own. Garbage exists outside of time, beyond history, unencumbered in the near-perfect dark. I am an egg. I am in the egg of eggs, formless and empty, able to take any shape I want or none at all. I am the only thing without inertia. I want nothing. If I am born, it will be without meaning, like a star. I thought I'd gone too far, man. I thought, oh my gosh, the universe is gonna get me on this one. This one, I've gone too far with it. That may be the only one. Let's see. Huh, weird. All right, let me pull it up a different way. Okay, Chimpanzees and Humanzees. And this was in Asimov's. They're being made in Siberia. Rumor has it, if they aren't killed during testing, they are dumped off on Orthodox nuns who raise them in a school for abominations. These are children so ugly, even nuns can only love them for a few hours a day. They are taught to separate speech from screeching, to button their shirts, pull combs across the long, thick parts of their fur, to do menial jobs so they don't become a burden on society. They file down long, stone hallways and are forced to be quiet. They are given nameless fears. They are given awe. They are much smarter than dogs, but dull-witted by human standards. Sometimes, when cleaning at the Institute, they happen across their chimp mothers who birth them, nurse them, cuddle them, and they are filled with shame. So that's kind of my homage to Michel Foucault. And that's a really political, that's my most political poem, I think. Oh, I don't know. I just it's so weird without any feedback. I think I've probably done enough damage with those two, but I think, thank you for listening. I wish I could hear you guys. It's just so weird. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. You want me to do another one, Wendy? Do you want me to? Okay, I'll do another one. I'll do the Book of Fly. If I can find it. I'm right in the storm out. Then I'm right. Okay, hold on. Well, the Book of Fly didn't come up, but the one that came up was "There Have Come Soft Rains." I actually wrote this for Donald Walheim, and this originally it was in honor of Donald Walheim. I don't know if you guys know him or not, but he was a science fiction editor. He wrote he mostly edited stuff. There have come soft rains. In kindergarten during the Cold War, midday late bells jolted us, sending us single file into the hallway, where we sat, pressing our heads between our knees, waiting. During one of the bomb drills, Annette was standing. My mother said I would talk on and on about her, about how pretty she was. I still remember her that day, curly hair and pretty dress, looking perturbed the way little children do. Why, Annette? There's nothing to be upset about. The bombs won't get us. I've seen what's to come. It is the days, the steady pounding of days like gentle rain that will be our undoing. And it's not really science fictional, but it's Donald Walheim said that he said in the early 70s, I think, that all science fiction about the future has to explain why either what happened after the nuclear war or why there wasn't one, and that kind of haunted me. And anyway, that's kind of about. Annette's a real girl, by the way. We're still friends. Like 50, it's been like 50, 55 years. We're still friends. So, and if you get the comic, you can see what she looks like. Here, I know you guys all have this comic already, anyway. But here, where is it? This is my plug, and this is how I'll end it. I'll just give my plug here for my stuff. 2 comics, but I want to show you Annette's picture. This is actually Julian drew this based on a drawing of her, based on a photo of her that she sent us. She still had a photo. I don't know if you can see her on the page now, but like there she is. That looks just like the photo. I mean, it's a comic book version, but that's Annette back in 1965 or whatever. That's my girl look like. Oh, my Annette. We're still friends. We still kind of adore each other. Here's and there she is looking at flowers and stuff. So this is Julian Peters' comic, drawing of that comic. So anyway, that's all I can take, guys. With this silence, it's driving me crazy. So I really appreciate your listening. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Thank you for coming in, and even at the last minute, we appreciate it. I guess I'm up next, even though I'm moderating the panel. I'm also a member of the SFPA and a poet myself. And hold on just a second. You'll have to forgive me. I have to grab my own bio here. I don't know if everyone realizes it, but we have been posting all the bios of each poet to the chat room. So if you would like to look at our work or follow our links, please go ahead and check the chat, and you will see a more detailed bio of each of the readers as they read. Anyway, John, if you could turn off your mic. Oh, hello, Linda Ann. Thank you for John. If you could turn off your mic. Oh, hello, Linda Ann. Thank you for John. Hello. Turn off your mic. Linda Ann. Thank you. If you could turn off your microphone. Linda Ann. Thank you. If you could turn off your microphone. Thank you, Linda. Hopefully our techie will help you get set up while I'm doing my reading, because we don't want to pause because we only have so much time. Anyway, again, my name is Wendy Van Camp. I'm a relatively new poet. I've only been around maybe 5 or 6 years writing poetry. I just released my first poetry collection, which is this one. It's called The Planets, a Sci-Fi Coup Poetry Collection, and it is nominated for an Elgin Award this year. I'm very pleased my first collection has gotten some notice. It's rather exciting for me. I don't have any other aspirations. There's so many talented poets here. I doubt I'm going to do much better than a nomination, but that's enough for me. Anyway, I thought I would read some of the poems from my Sci-Fi Coup collection. And just so people know that I don't have just sci-fi coup. I also, some of my science fiction haikus are also astro poetry, but everything's in theme. Basically, I took a theme of the planets of our solar system, and I did research on the history of what went on with each planet. And from that, I based my poems on. And anyway, I'll go ahead and get started here. First one, excuse me while I remove my glasses here too. The first one is called Mercury. I circle the sun in spin orbit resonance, lonely messenger. The next one is Venus impact. Sulfuric air of Venus burns meteors of certain size. Small rocks need not apply. The next one is dysphoria. Life springs from the earth. Humans are as seeds on the wind, colonizing worlds. The next sci-fi coup is Oceanus. We call our home Earth, part of our short-sighted hubris on a world of water. The next one is called Mars. This elderly world, lost global magnetic field, can't hold its breath. The next one is called Canals. Mistaken translation. Italian Canelli creates hope of Martian life. Next one I call Jupiter's ring. One bright main ring, the halo forms an inner torus, on edge glimmers gossamer dust. And since I did a poem about Jupiter's rings, I of course had to do one about Saturn's too. This one's Saturn's rings. Rings spin their own path within the giant disk, mind the Cassini gap. Saturn's attraction. Love is magnetism, as sparks flash in my winds, metallic hydrogen dynamo. The next one I call Titan. This is one of Saturn's moons. Your deep canyons hold rivers of hydrocarbons. Will we plant our flag? Next is Enceladus geysers. Hot geysers take aim at Saturn's magnetosphere, mingle and merge. Next is Uranus breath. In monotonous teal, methane hides soul of giant, wild winds storm beneath. Next one I called Deep Blue World. Methane, not the reason, what secret lies beneath of Neptune's royal blue. And the final one from that particular book that I'm going to read today is called Planet Pluto. In the Kuiper belt, dwarves mingle with comets. Size doesn't matter. All right, and I thought I'd also read a series of sci-fi coup that I wrote for other magazines. This one appeared in one called Far Horizons back in 2016, and it was based on a thing called Tabby Star. I don't know if you've heard about it in the news, but there was some suspicion that there might be an alien substructure surrounding the sun to block the light, and that really intrigued me. So I did a series of poems about that. The first one, and bear with me with the title, is KIC 8462852. That's actually the stellar designation of Tabby Star. 1,500 light years, humans' warp drive propels ship, odd pulses promise life. The next one is called Dyson's Swarm. Hold my place forever, lonely swarm of graphene sails, wireless energy transfer. The next one is called Dyson Ring. One by one, we encircle stalactite's self-replicating ring, star energy captured. And the final one of that group is called Abandoned Sphere. Lack of radiation, dead stalactites enclose alien star. We claim all salvage rights. And that will probably be it for my sci-fi coup. And I thought I would end with a longer poem that I just published recently. I actually was contacted by the magazine editor who really wanted to find somebody who wrote astropoetry because she wanted to commemorate the SpaceX launch that happened this year. And it just happened to be something that I wanted to write about. So it was rather a good match for us. It came out in the Starlight Emporium magazine in their summer 2020 issue. It's a poem in 3 parts, and it's called From Pad 39A. And if you'd like to read it, it is in my Curious Fictions portfolio online. The first part is called Apollo. At dawn, the monolith rises with brave men to ascend the heavens. We will journey to the moon. The nation holds its collective breath as television cameras spy. At dawn, the monolith rises with brave men to ascend the heavens. On magnificent blossoms of fire, Kennedy's dream comes to life. We see our world with new eyes. At dawn, the monolith rises with brave men to ascend the heavens. We will journey to the moon. Part 2 is called Endeavor. Over and over, the flying brick transports humans into orbit, landing home after her mission. When the Challenger explodes, we grow fearful of outer space. Over and over, the flying brick transports humans into orbit. Astronauts float in the space station, performing great experiments the earthbound do not comprehend. Over and over, the flying brick transports humans into orbit, landing home after her mission. And part 3 is called Dragon. The rising dragon is a javelin with precision pierces the sky, leaping forth from pad 39-A. Despite masks and social distance, the nation relives Apollo mystique. The rising dragon is a javelin with precision pierces the sky. Former shuttle pilots rename SpaceX craft their Endeavor, bringing the past into the future. The rising dragon is a javelin with precision pierces the sky, leaping forth from pad 39A. And that is what I had prepared for today. We may have time for another round, but first we have another poet who just arrived, Linda Ann. And Linda Ann, if you could go ahead and unmic yourself, you will be our next poet to read. Okay, do you know how to unmic yourself? Turn on your mic. There we go. There we are, Linda. And Linda, could you, hold on, I still don't hear you, but once we get you situated, make sure you introduce yourself first, since you were not there to introduce yourself at the beginning of the reading.
Okay, I'm Linda Ann Lachavo. Can you hear me, Wendy?
Yes, now I do. Thank you.
This is my current book. It was nominated for an Elgin Award, A Route Obscure and Lonely, and I'm going to read 3 poems. By the way, I've been with you since 11 a.m. and enjoyed meeting you all. Akua and Wendy, David, John, lovely to hear your reading. My poems from this book are dramatic monologues. The first one is My Intergalactic Gigolo. This is going to appear in the next issue of Andromeda Spaceways magazine. Night's canopy dares me to steal away, rebellious, jumping that forbidden fence, to gather prized morels, their strong, distinct intensity appealing. Curious excursions undertaken secretly. Morchella have a symbiotic, deep relationship with trees, though unalike, attachments that help growing things survive. An alien has been observing me. Where'd you come from? What made me unafraid? You plucked me from earth, softening my limbs in chemical light. I became your mate, lit from within like mushrooms that can glow in darkness, bioluminescence, strange befitting me, the beams igniting flesh. Your knot hands cup each curve, warm, tenderly, with extraordinary skill. Hoist me to knot lips that emit erotic sounds, transporting me to heights I've only dreamed about till now. My skin looks new, but pruned. Was this your planet's purification, my intergalactic suave gigolo? One moment floating through thin air together, wrapped in not arms. We've escaped through time and space, strong currents pulling me along. But then you vanished utterly. My knees kissed forest soil, and fingertips away, green glowing fungi grow, as if predestined. Just a dream, a fantasy, I think, except my thumb cap's been tattooed, gold runes encircling it like a ring. By the way, I've started a YouTube video channel for science fiction poetry. It's on Linda Ann Literary on YouTube. This poem is about 2 vampires who go to tour a dilapidated house with ulterior motives. Unquiet house. Dilapidated house. The broker's keen to pitch the property to newlyweds from out of state, which we pretend to be. Maria's chatter is distracting him, eyes showing gleams of true engagement. Winks. I slip out. For a photo, I explain, meticulously cautious, quiet shoes. How many bargain hunters have been here inspecting dirty cellar walls for clues of water damage, not suspecting mold is not the worst homeowner's legacy. The deck is clouded, spiders overhead suspended from dead vines await a broom knifing through filaments spun secretly. Unnatural deeds carry threads forward, like the black widow spider, breast stroking through gossamer voids under ragged moons. Sweet bloods in undiscovered special rooms, unconquerable sorrows tendon taught. The for sale sign nods back and forth as if it recognizes me through my disguise. No longer called a conjurer, my steps still carry the pulsations of lost hearts. The agent doesn't realize what's right behind him, why he must be sacrificed. Maria's eyes meet mine, a message swept across in spidery blinks of eyelash. The undead must have dreams for which to wait. This poem is based on a ghost encounter when I was tending my cancer-ridden mother at my parents' house in Florida. It's called House Guest. With measured strokes, I brushed defiant hair, cascading waves that cancer left untouched. You'd had enough of hospitals, that lack of privacy, imagining your home serene, secure, free from intrusive pests. It would shock you to learn we're not alone. At dawn, the presence by the sills crispens, emerges as the drapes inhale into a phantom shape. Infernal company, omniscient brakeman, timer in cold hands, poised, waiting, exhalations nearly through. Lost in the territory of morphine, deciding to eject your breathing tubes, you tossed away the life-saving device. Asleep, I'm unaware, till ghost commands arouse me full awake.
Yeah, Linda, I
Yes,
hate to cut you off, but the next reader is here and we need to close out the panel. Thank you very much for coming. I know you had some technical difficulties and we're just grateful you were able to make it. But we, unfortunately, we need to close out this panel. Thank you all who are listening to the SFPA poetry reading. We hope to see you at sfpoetry.com. Please come and join us. We always want new poets in the mix. We'd be happy to have you there. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bravo. Thank you.
All right.